What are essential change manager skills and how do they contribute to operational change? Hey there, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of HR University, and in this lesson, we'll go over just that. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to our channel, and that way you don't miss any of our other lessons on how to implement effective change within an organization. Now let's begin. So first, we'll list essential skills and then go through each one of them. The skills that a change manager must have are technical skills, communication skills, leadership skills, strategic skills, analytical skills, and organizational skills. So let's start with technical skills. So technical skills are important for change managers as they allow them to manage the project that they're working on. Planning, managing, and executing a project from start to finish is essential for any change manager. They must keep track of all of these elements and ensure they are moving in the right direction. And knowledge of project management software is also necessary to plan and track changes. And there are many different types of project management software, so change manager needs to be familiar with the most popular ones. And for technical knowledge, we also have an understanding of change models and frameworks. And since there are different models, having a solid understanding helps a manager pick the best model for a specific organizational change. And communication skills are the next essential skill for a change manager. A large part of the job is communicating with employees and other stakeholders about changes. And change is often disruptive, and many employees won't agree with the change in their daily work. And lack of proper communication will lead to change resistance, often leading to overall failure. And the most common communication skill a change manager needs is the ability to write well. So change managers must create compelling content that is informative and easy to understand so people can understand the change that's going to happen. This includes things like writing emails effectively, memos, and reports. And then we have next, which is the verbal communication part. And verbal communication is essential for explaining changes to employees and getting them on board with the shifts. And change managers must deliver presentations on changes, hold meetings with stakeholders, and answer questions from employees. And finally, we have active listening skills. To address a change management process, you need to practice active listening. It means giving your full attention to the speaker. And employees have questions about the change, and you must listen to them and address their concerns. And active listening shows employees that you care about their problems and are open to hearing what they say. Another common skill that a change manager needs is leadership skills. Addressing a change management process is challenging without leadership. In parallel, you need to motivate employees, set goals, and keep everyone on track. You also need to be able to manage conflict and build consensus. And change can be disruptive and lead to conflict, to say the least, so you must be able to manage it. And decision-making skills are crucial for adequate leadership too. Making the right decision at the right time is essential in change management, where unforeseen issues arise constantly. And change managers must assess the situation, weigh the pros and cons, and make the right decision for the company. And next, we have conflict resolution skills. Change managers resolve conflicts between employees and stakeholders, and they need to listen to both sides of the argument and find a solution that everyone can agree on. And by practicing conflict resolution skills, change managers and people who want to become change managers can ultimately become a better problem solver and more effective in the change management process. And again, motivating employees is another key skill for leadership. Everyone needs motivation and inspiration to keep going despite challenges. And as a change manager, you encourage employees and keep them engaged in the change process. And you do this by setting goals, providing feedback, and recognizing employees' contribution to the change. And you need to articulate the vision for the change and how it impacts employees. And the next skill set here is strategic skills. Strategic skills help you develop long-term plans for the company and align the change with the company's goals. And whether you are planning for a small or large-scale change, you need to be strategic in your approach. First, you must understand the company's goals and how the change will help achieve them. Besides that, you also need to create a plan for effective resource management. And since no change management process is without challenges, you need to anticipate problems and develop solutions. You also need a contingency plan if something goes wrong. And by anticipating problems, you avoid or mitigate their impact on the company. And after anticipating problems, the next step is to implement the change. It involves communicating the plan, training employees on the new process, and of course, monitoring the progress. So that way you know whether it's effective or not. And let's go ahead and dive into that a little bit deeper. So the monitoring and evaluating the change process part. Change is a continuous process, and therefore it's crucial to monitor the progress of the change and assess its effectiveness over time. And for successful change management, you want to track key indicators. And in order to do that, this brings us to the part of analytical skills as being essential for a change manager. And you must gather data and analyze trends and patterns. It helps understand how the change impacts employees and the organization. And you use data to make informed decisions about the direction of the change. And change managers collect data on aspects vital to the change process. You collect data by surveying employees, reviewing performances, and analyzing maybe social media data. There's many different sources. And after gathering that said data, you must implement data insights. It involves understanding the trends and patterns and figuring out the next steps. And common key performance indicators here are employee satisfaction, productivity, and customer satisfaction. And by collecting KPIs, you understand where the change process has the strongest and the weakest impact. And change managers use their analytical tools and software to go about this process. Some popular tools here include WhatFix, force field analysis, and stakeholder analysis, among many others. And finally, we have organizational skills. The success of change initiatives depend on the effective organization of tasks and resources. To create a solid change strategy, a change manager has to create a timeline, and timelines help track the progress of the change and identify delays. Moreover, by creating a timeline, you ensure that the change is on time and synced with the budget. And another part of organizational skills is setting priorities. Priority organization means identifying the most important tasks and focusing on them first. And finally, you need to allocate resources to implement a change program. It includes both the financial and human resources. Let's take a look at the change manager responsibilities to understand in what ways to make use of these skills that we just went over. So change manager solely works for the effective development and implementation of the change plan. And their typical duties involve developing a change plan, creating and managing a change team, and identifying associated risks and challenges, training and preparing the workforce for the transformation, evaluating outcomes, and analyzing the success metrics of the change. And in order to do all of that, they need these skills that we just went over. And now that you have a better understanding of the role and the skills associated with that role to make sure that you can succeed as a change manager, you are ready to go and start implementing change. And if you feel like you have the ability to do just that, make sure to go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to our channel so that we can get all of our lessons on how to lead organizational change in your organization. And again, my name is Josh. I'm the founder of HR University, and I'll go ahead and see you on some of our other lessons and videos. Cheers.